What's going on, everybody? Wilson here, your spiritual hype man, and I'm super excited to be on the podcast again. Thanks for having me, Wilson. Oh, no problem, Wilson. Thanks for joining us and being the spiritual hype man for us. No problem. So again, speaking on second or third person, this episode, don't mind me. This episode, I want to talk about acknowledging the the female species, okay? Now, so my mom just turned 60. Fucking incredible. I'm like, oh my God, Ma, you're 60 years old. Like, it's crazy, right? So I called her, one of our traditions, no matter what, like, I guess it's everybody's tradition. You have birthday cake on your birthday. So, and for the longest, I feel like birthdays are definitely, in my personal opinion, should be a day that you fucking celebrate, because it's your day of being here, being conscious, being alive, being here on Earth. So I think it's super important for birthdays. And I know some people are like, it's just another birthday. And I've done that too. I'm like, I don't really want too much. I don't want to go do anything crazy. But I think you deserve that day for yourself to do whatever the fuck you want to do, right? As long as it's not hurting you or other people. Now, obviously, when you're 21, that's the other thing, right? Society, in terms of influence, you're 21, go out and get fucking wasted. It's kind of what it was back then, years ago. I don't know what it is now in terms of these young cats at 21 years old. I'm not sure. Could be that, or it could be something different. Hopefully it's different. But again, enjoy your day. Birthdays are to be enjoyed, to be celebrated, in my own personal opinion, and to fucking, enjoy it. Like, it's your moment of being alive, of being fucking winning the lottery of life and getting a chance to be here, right? Now, not everybody wins the lottery in terms of how they're brought up, where they live, where they're born. Now, that's a whole different aspect. And again, those things at some point also don't affect you, because you get to a point where you can start making your own decisions, hopefully. And then from there, you just work on the goals and towards the directions that you want. Besides the point, not on this one. This one, I want to talk more just about, I had a long conversation with Mom. So we always have birthday cake on our birthday, even if it's not the birthday party. Like, if it's your fucking birthday, like, you don't wait till Sunday because it's a weekend. You better have fucking cake and get some candles on. And someone, even if it's your own fucking self, should be singing happy birthday to you, because you deserve it. Now, my mom's birthday yesterday. We always call. I wasn't obviously she's in a different state. I'm here, but we call and we have long conversations when we can on her birthday. Now, if you haven't listened to my abusive mom episode, I would highly recommend listening to that one. Maybe before, and then come back and continue, because you would get good reference. Or you can listen to this and then do like a Tintin Quarantino thing, and then you go back to the beginning. And so, speaking with my mom, it's just how's work, how's, the usual conversation that you have between parents, just catching up, stuff like that. And then we just, for the longest, just kept talking, and it was a pretty fucking long conversation, which I'm like, oh, that's cool that I'm like able to talk to my mom for this long, because before I was unable to have that type of conversation with her, because it was just like, all right, let me get off the fucking phone. I don't want to keep talking about this or whatever. But then I asked her, I'm like, Mom, how are you feeling? I asked her. And this could be a good prompt, too, to ask yourself, right? How am I feeling? Or other people. Because people will tell you and they'll share with you, and even I'll share. It's like, oh, we're, doing this with work, and now we got that, and we're going on vacation. And but, like, how are you feeling about that? Like, what's the feeling, right? How are you feeling about that? And so when I asked her, to my surprise, she goes, I'm fucking tired. Well, she didn't say fucking. She said, I'm tired. And I can hear it in her voice, and I can feel it. And that's when I was like, and then, like, it took a minute, because I was like working while talking. I was like editing, doing whatever. And then when she said it, I was like, huh. And I was like, took a second. I looked at her. I'm like, damn, She's like, yeah, I'm just tired. Like my soul is tired. Something along those lines for a minute. Because, like, and it's crazy. Here's the other thing. She literally a few months ago, like November 8th, like, after having an episode, she had like this crazy weird medical episode where it's like, what the fuck just happened? Then she broke her foot, and then after that she had a bunch of tests done, stuff like that, but it came back that she had like 2 mini strokes, like one a long time ago, and then one most recently, which led to like the medical episode that was happening. And so I was like, fuck. Like, I didn't know they classified it as mini strokes. I'm like, that's insane. So again, 2 mini strokes. she's feeling tired. She's a bus driver, for the long. So it's crazy because like, if you go back and listen to the episode of my abusive mom and how crazy strict she was to certain extents and just like tough as fucking nails, she bus drives and then she deals with kids on the bus, right? And I remember growing up, like she would deal with all of different types of kids, right? So like thinking from like elementary school to high school kids. So imagine that and all different demographics in all different areas of Jersey. Okay. So imagine that as well. Right. And so she's, she used to be very, like, sometimes she'd get very emotional and would have issues with kids. And like, she would be that Anna, my mom, to those kids in a certain way that like, they'd either have to go to the principal, she'd have to go talk to whoever. Like it was just a lot of extra shit that like, I think my mom put up with, one, and then also like made the decision to like not put up with, right? So which added more to her plate other than like, oh, all right, bye kids, hi kids. Like she wants to help, she wants to provide, and she wants to give. And I think that's part of where I like that comes from me as well, in terms of like wanting to do that. And I think to a certain part, like if you don't get what you get back, it was a big issue for my mom. And I think something that I dealt with a lot sooner within myself, because I felt the same way. It's like, well, look at everything I did and what am I getting? And so I've sort of stopped thinking that way. And there's moments still that I'm working on where I'm like, I'm still not, is this selfless, or am I asking, or am I actually looking for something, right? But at the same time, there's nothing wrong with getting something back, right? So that's another line of fucking feeling or understanding of like where you are. But back to the story. So mom, for years, she's got 2 or 5 more years left before she can retire. And she has like, 5 years, I think it's like full pension, 2 years, like half pension or whatever the fuck that is. Like however that system works. And so whatever, after she said, I'm tired, I'm like, man, all of these things came to mind. And then during the call, she like actually shared with me like certain people or certain, kids that she had on the bus that actually came back, wrote her letters, paid for her lunch. Like she made an impact. So like, I was like, well, that's fucking awesome, Mom. Like really cool. Like I was really genuinely like proud of her. I'm like, good job, like, and so when she said she was tired, I just looked at her. I'm like, fuck, man. Like I can only imagine, right? And that's what came to my head. It's like, I can only imagine the things that you've gone through. And again, I've touched base on this in terms of this is how I got my aha moment in the episode of My Abusive Mom. There's an aha moment for me where I could only imagine, in terms of what it was. And I'm not going to spoil it because you should go listen to it, because it's a fucking great one. I think it's like our second most listened to podcast. So go listen to it. But either way, like when she said she was tired, I looked at her and I saw her and I felt her feeling. I gained even more appreciation for her, and then for her as a woman. Okay. And again, hear me out on this thought process. Okay. Because it's specifically for like, I'm going to talk about my mom and then I think macro, right? Because I feel, or like, let's just talk macro. Predominantly for the longest time, right? It's been a male, again, this vocabulary there was male dominant. I don't want to say male dominant, but it's like predominantly males, right, that made decisions or were the head of the household, or, and the wife, the female, was ultimately the person that like, secondary to the, right, the king and the queen sort of thing, right? And the king has more power than the queen until the king's no longer around, right? But at the same time, these kings, us, our male counterparts, us, like who we are as men, or like the species of males, come from only one other species, and that's the female, right? So not only do these females, like my mom, birthed myself and my brothers, I birthed everybody here in fucking society, right? Like not only did they birth us, or right, the species of like humans, but like then we grow up, and somehow, some way, it's like then they still need to figure out a way to like find a male, or I don't know if I'm saying this right. Okay, they birth us, all right. Then they get into shitty relationships with other with males, right? So females birth males, then or females, right? But then the generation of females then have like these relationships with dudes that, again, I was one of them, that aren't the best for the female in that moment. They don't take care, they don't appreciate like what they do or how they do it, right? And I'm talking about in general aspects, because obviously there's two sides to every story, but I'm talking in general. Like I didn't consider the other half, like the other female counterpart, until very much later in my life, where I started realizing, like, holy shit, how did, like, you birth kids, you still have to work, you still have to make the other person happy, your other counterpart happy. You still have to like do laundry, you still have to clean, you know, and then you still have to like cook food. And if it's not cooked food, if it's not good, you're going to hear about it from your kids and your husband or some bullshit. And it's like, and you still got to do all these things, and you still got to like, so I realized that yesterday when my mom said she was tired. She's like, I'm fucking tired. And then it hit me of all these things that she's gone through. And I'm like, fuck. Where's the appreciation for that? And that was my aha moment. My appreciation for, and again, it goes for anybody, right? It can be for a dude too that's in a position that, you know, they do, and it could be vice versa. But I'm just talking generalization of like what we're programmed to think, or how we're like, I don't want to say programmed either, but just how society deems things to be true, and like how society deems things to be the way they should be, right? Because if you look back at like TV shows, back way when, I Love Lucy, all that shit, it was the male that went out to work and did this, and then the wife had to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. And that's just part of society's acceptance of values that came from, I don't know, a group, an individual. Like, I don't know. I'd love to know, right? In terms of where it came from. Or if it's just something that's natural. But I think once our brains, like once we go from caveman status to Jedi mind master status, I think there's an element of understanding or having the ability to have those moments of aha or perception, and then acknowledgement, you know, and appreciation. And that's what happened to me yesterday on my mom's birthday. And here's the other thing. Like, on my birthday, I call my mom and I say, good job, Mom. You did a great job. Because think about the labor she went through on my birthday. And you guys are, and the celebration is for me, right? But some of the celebration should go back to the mom. Yeah? Because, like, that day, she was not having a good time. There was no birthday cakes. There was no candles. There were no presents. Maybe some balloons and some flowers or something. But it wasn't a fucking birthday party. She was fucking laboring. She was laboring for you. You know, and again, it's general, because maybe there are some moms that didn't do the best thing for their kids, et cetera, et cetera. And again, listen to the episode, because there are things that could be considered not the best things for me when I was growing up. But I understand now, and I have perspective. And just yesterday, hearing her saying that she's tired gave me even more appreciation for the person, and the fact that she's a female and has gone through all this shit, and still to this day, she's like 2 to 5 years away from retirement, and she's still fucking doing these bags on Christmas. Like, she's doing 80-something bags for all the kids to make sure the kids have something. Making, you know, like, she shared the salary with me. I was like, wow, that's crazy incredible that's what you make, Ma, and then you've been doing this for so many years, and you only got 2, and you're 60 years old. It's fucking insane. It's like a perspective shift for me. And so that's where a lot of... that's where my aha moment came from yesterday. And so I guess the macro picture, the macro sense of thing is just to appreciate other people, but here specifically the females that are part of your life or group. Because not only do they have to do the same things we have to do, they just have to be fucking more punk rock and badass about it to not show weakness, right? Because when we show weakness, I feel like when I show weakness or whatever, like Patty's there for me. Right, my other half is there for me. Or like if I needed to, I would call my mom. She would be there for me. And when we grow up as like kids, or as like little kids, as like a little boy, you know, that's where you find console, whatever the word is, right? Like feeling good, and like and you don't feel good, and then you go to mom, And mom always helps make you feel good. And we do that. I feel like we do that too. Like when we're adults, we're like, we're this fucking, and then when you're like emotionally drought, then you go look and seek it from your other half, which is usually a female, right? Or has the female, whatever. It doesn't matter, not for everybody, but again, in general, for general purposes. And so they go through this, and they go through all of this, and then they fucking get in relationships with other dudes. Again, specifically for this example, but it's like. And sometimes those dudes aren't appreciative because they had a shitty childhood and they're taking it out or whatever the fuck the situation is. But then that female still needs to figure out how to like do things and deal with a little son of a bitch who's not a grown ass adult. You know what I mean? It's kind of insane if you think about like everything that they have to deal with, and then still manage to be like that person that you look up to or look forward to seeing. In most cases, right? So that's it. That was my aha moment for today. I hope it helps somehow. Even if it's mending relationships or taking that step. But again, like the last episode we talked about, it's something you don't have to. It doesn't have to be forced, right? You don't have to force it until you're ready. And if you're looking for perspective or seeking something outside of what you're feeling now, then I definitely would consider thinking about these macro levels of things of what these female counterparts really need to do, especially within society's structure. It was probably even worse way back when. And so keep it real, keep it crushing it, and keep listening. All right. I'll see you guys again on the next one. Power to all the women, all the females listening in, all the females connected to you. Obviously the males too, because at the end of the day, we're one species. And we're all trying to do the same damn thing. But appreciate those other halves. Appreciate those other counterparts. And until next one, we'll see you guys again soon. Keep crushing it. Peace.